I'm Curt Frye. In this movie, I want to show you how to calculate the number of customers that you need to bring into a store, assuming that you sell something outside the store, like gasoline or petrol, that will serve as an enticement to bring them in. The sample file that I'm using is %in_store, and that's an Excel file that you can download using the link that I provide in the video description below. Like my last movie, this movie is based on techniques that were demonstrated by Professor Scott Stevens of James Madison University. That was in his video course, Mathematical Decision Making, Predictive Models and Optimization, published by The Great Courses. I've created my own examples, but want to acknowledge Professor Stevens' work. So let's take a look at what we have. And as you can see from the title, this type of arrangement is often called a loss leader. You're willing to take a loss on an item to bring people into the store. Professor Stevens' example was Costco, so I've continued with that, or it can be any store that sells gas and groceries. If you have 3,200 customers a day that purchase gas, then you can calculate the number of gallons that they purchase. You should also know the loss per gallon. So if you can buy gas and include transportation and other costs for $4.29, then you would sell it for $4.19, and that's the loss. You also need to know the number of customers who buy gas that come into the store that would not otherwise do so, and that is important. The average purchase and the profit margin, and that can give you the profit, and from there we can make the calculations we need. Let's start by calculating our loss based on gas sales. So that will be the amount or the number of gallons purchased times the loss. We'll use the number of gas customers in a moment. So in B6, I'll just type B4 times B5 and enter. And not surprisingly, we are losing $4,800. Now we can calculate the total store profit based on customers who come in who would not otherwise do so. For this, we have the multiplication of E3 through E5, number of customers, the average purchase, and the profit margin. So in E6, I'll type equal, and we'll take the product, because we're multiplying all these values together, of E3 to E5. Product is very useful. If you're multiplying values together, it works exactly like sum, except for multiplication. So press enter, and if we have 100 customers come in, based on the values here, we have a total profit of $625. So that's not nearly enough to make up for our loss, but let's see what we can do. Next, for my summary, I need to have the profit minus the loss. So in cell B8, I will type equal E6, which is the total profit from sales, minus B6, which is the loss. Press enter, and we get a very large negative number. With all this in place, we can use GoalSeek to find the number of gas customers that would need to enter the store to break even. So the cell we will be changing is E3. I'll go to the Data tab on the ribbon, click What If Analysis, and click GoalSeek. And I'll move the GoalSeek dialog box over to the left a little bit. The idea is that I want to find my break-even point, so I'm going to set cell B8 to the value of 0. That means I'm not making a profit, I'm not making a loss, and we're going to do that by changing cell E3. And again, that's the number of gas customers that would need to come into the store when they would not otherwise do so. And I can have Excel try a bunch of values and find the one target if it's able to. I'll click OK. We have a value, so I'll click OK again. So based on this loss per gallon, I would need to have 768 out of 3,200 gas customers come into the store when they would not otherwise do so. And the percentage, which I've calculated down in B10, and I didn't make you put in that formula, it's just simple division, is 24%. But let's change our value on loss per gallon so that instead of losing 10 cents per gallon, we lose 5. So in B5, I'll type 0.05 and then go back up to what if, goal seek. And unfortunately, goal seek doesn't remember what you put in before, so you need to do it again. So we're setting B8 to 0 by changing cell E3, click OK, and we get exactly half of what we had before, which is 384. Not surprising, because our loss per gallon was cut in half as well. But that means that only 12% of customers need to come in for us to break even. And of course, if the average purchase is higher, or our profit were higher, then we wouldn't need to have as many gas customers come into the store after they're done filling their tank. I hope you've enjoyed this analysis. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel.